and Delta people, we apologize that we gave you such people. As far as the political party, it's too early. Elections of 2027, I'm quite disappointed that it started so quickly. As I preferred, and I've always canvassed that we should have 2 years of work after an election, then we can do politics. Otherwise, we'll just be a nation of politics, and zero development. But if you are asking how will it impact us, the question I would just want to throw back to you is that when we gave Okonwa the vice presidential slot of the PDP, and Obuabere was the governorship candidate, how many votes did they even produce for PDP in the presidential election? When it comes to the in-season, their governorship election, they will have to contend with long-standing APC men who would also have been thinking that they deserve to use the platform of their party to channel. Let them go and do a primaries in APC, in an environment where they can do a primaries in the morning, like they did in Edo State. Somebody can win, and the next day, the morning, they can tell them to go and repeat it just to get a different answer. Where people don't go to court when they feel shortchanged, where whatever instruction is backed from above. These are men who are used to freedom, who have taken themselves into garrison. I could have saved them, even if they knew they were in jail.
You make it sound like they just made a deal with the devil. But in hindsight, do you think the choice of Okwal was a bad one, given where we are right now?
You see, his trajectory as a person, former senator, former governor, is not a bad one in that sense. Nobody will know how the outcome of an election will be until the election is cast and the votes are counted. In any case, if you don't have a free, fair, transparent, credible election, whatever you call the outcome, at best you'll take it with a pinch of salt. But with the benefit of hindsight, some of us were clairvoyant, because at that time we had said, he's not going to bring as much to the table as the man he was sidestepped for. That the man he was sidestepped for, which ironically is now the Minister of FCT, we kept saying he has a culture and a tradition of keeping his word. He has a culture of bravery when he wears the jersey of the PDP. He will not cow, he will not fall down. He will he will see it all the way to the wire. But the decision of who will be the running mate is as it is always with every party. It was the president who chose his own running mate. It's our candidate that chose the running mate. But alas, even after we lost the election in 2003, people like us have been pushing the party, supporting and all that. What has he been doing? He's just been muted. He's not been doing anything even to promote or support the party. He's not used his voice. His colleague, his age mate, his Peter Obi, after he lost the election, he's been jumping, at least trying to show visibility. So if Okonwa is gone, good riddance to bad rubbish.
Well, that's a bit harsh, isn't it?
That's how I feel. What is hard? You think them uprooting all of the structure of our party in the state overnight is good? Do you think that kind of thing is the right thing you want to teach people as the character, the behavior of Democrats? You can leave, but when you do something as ugly as call everybody into a room, some of them you didn't even tell them what the intention was. You are the governor, you are the former this and that, and then you announce we are gone. Do you know many of the people that were in that room now that are even regretting why they would even bring them into a room and make that pronouncement? But politics is politics now. By the time we start rebuilding, we'll know who is in and who is out. Thank goodness. I want to thank them for going on time, because that's how they would have sat in there, would have been planning an election, and they would have been doing anti-party of the people. In terms of security, in terms of international reputation, in terms of the indicators that let you understand that they know what they are up against, even in terms of availability on the job to sit down and do the work. Half the time you are searching for him. If they don't tell you he's gone to London, he's gone to France, he's gone to Sokoto, you will not see him in any serious-minded meeting in those places, indicating that he's doing anything other than at best on holiday, so not wanting to say more. So I can't see any reason. Less than 2 years into a tenure, people are behaving like this. But you know what? The Constitution allows for freedom of association, but it does not include that we will not call a bad behavior bad. I have always said to them, and I said to them even when they won in 2015, that APC, you have won now. Can you just grow this your party in an organic manner so that the coloration of your party can resemble your ideas? Now they have a mishmash. You look at who is best in charge of their Senate. His characteristic and attitude, PDP. You look for who is here, who is there. You look at them. You just find out that, okay, over the years, what is that thing that kept you in PDP that is taking you? If tomorrow morning and tomorrow will come, we run the next election. Contrary to their imagination that, oh, governors own all the suffrage, there are 2.9 million registered, collected PVC in Delta. Those 2.5 million votes, 2.9 million votes are the things that they are going to contend with.
Yeah,
and if we then win, let us have a register so that these ones that are jumping here, we can tell them, stay where you are and face the consequences of what you have chosen. But they are going to be contesting against the Nigerian people. The next election is not going to be them versus them. No. It's going to be whatever we are able to make of all these plans, including the ideas of conversation, of coalition, bringing people in and doing all the way. And kudos to you, Atiku, for the effort under the PDP. We will tell the Nigerian people, how has your life been? And I can tell you for free so that he will remember, because it was part of us when we built that. We built the biggest economy in Africa. We built the biggest GDP in Africa until we handed over power to them in 2015. And between 2015 to date, we have become number 4. All the indicators are bad. Sometimes I am even the one showing up for national reputation, sometimes quarreling with my brothers, the obedient, that, oh, take it easy, don't let us demarket our country. It's not because they are wrong on data, it's just because I don't believe that as Nigerians, there shouldn't be some part of us that wishes to hold on to our own country so that we will not just be a people that go all over the world shaming ourselves. But who has brought the shame to us? Them, the APC. Don't ever assume that the political party is a garrison. Don't ever assume that when people have freedom of, exercising rights and privileges, including going to court, do you think it is even normal that you are comparing PDP as a political party with APC as a government, as if we are the one in government? Yet you cannot even compare PDP as a political party with APC as a garrison.
Yeah, but the point is,
what is the point?
The point is, there's so much instability in the PDP that you can't blame anyone who decides to jump ship.
So you say.
No, so it is.
So you say. The reason why I say so you
Today,
say.
Who is the national secretary of the PDP?
Sam Ayong.
According to
the Supreme Court, we don't need to be bandering around. You see, if it was your party, if it was their party, they finished an election. They did not call any meeting. The next thing we saw is that they've thrown away their national chairman, they've thrown away their secretary, they've thrown away everybody, and everybody has gone home to go and sleep as if they are.
And they have moved on.
Yes, but you see, that which you are calling move on is civilian dictatorship, is over-aiming and over-influencing of a process that is supposed to be free by the ideas of one individual. They did an election, a primaries in Edo, asking. The announced whether people did the primary, a governorship candidate emerged. 2 or 3 days later, they came back and said, go and repeat it. And nobody went to court. Is that normal? If they like it, they should live with it.
As far as PDP is concerned, whatever is the situation in this,
look at it.
Don't be in a hurry. Whatever is the situation, we know there are problems.
Right.
And then I am even surprised Otumba has forgotten to see what his party is all about. People in the party, in fact, it is just the beginning. Okoa and then a Delta is just a thrown stone. So many things will come from now to August.
Right.
It is there he can know that yes, PDP is no more.
No, with due respect. Yeah. You see, what this elder is saying sort of makes me wish that we should pray. And what is that prayer? Oh God, spare our life. You see, all those locations that they are running to, stimulating and trying to speak to them to just move. Those places, PDP traditionally won them, and we did not win in 2015, 2019, 2023. You see where their problem is that they are deceiving themselves that there are no problem. The far north. I can tell you, maybe he doesn't know. The last election, in all the urban northern areas, PDP won. They lost in all the urban. They made up their numbers by rural votes from the rural areas. You see those rural areas, that's where the poorest of the poor are. And that's where the crazy policies that they are doing and saying it's a global thing. It's not a global thing. You chose by yourself to devalue the currency and devalue our people into poverty. That was a stroke of the pen policy that is so irresponsible, no person will tolerate. You know why? Because it affects not just the work of the people, not just their salary, not just the cost of production. It affects even the savings. Therefore, they will pay for it in those locations. If it is the will of God Almighty, when we get to the next election, they will remember that the Buhari who used to help them get those numbers is sitting lukewarm. They will be reminded that the CPC aspect of it, since they are a people who like use and dump, they will pay for it. They will be reminded that people like Nasir El-Rufai, whom they like to say it doesn't matter, will matter so much. They will be reminded that people like Aregbesola, who does not matter to them, will matter so much. Do they even know how many of their members are just marking time? That people are afraid of your dictatorial tendency and using government institutions to harass them. And some of them are keeping quiet because they are cowards. And some of them are jumping ship because they are people of no character. Don't worry. In a couple of weeks' time, oh God, spare all our lives, we will come to that election. We will then ask them whether the 8.9 million votes he got, which are the worst of APC's previous election before Bola Tinubu, they usually got 15 million. He will now come and tell us whether it is the 8.9 million they allocated for us, plus the 6.1 going to conjure by themselves. In the last election, finally, remember that 5 of our governors did not even work for the candidate. You had all your governors, you had 5 of our governors, all of it put together, 22 from you, 5 from us, 27 governors that you are making into special beings. They could only produce 8.9. Even the Okowa you are happy to get, take in. Other people will take that space because they couldn't even bring the vote. And please, with due respect, sir, let us, for the sake of the younger generation, let us not give the impression that this nation called Nigeria do not have honorable men. Men who can say, I'm here, I will stay here, I will work with it, I will repair it, we will move together. The day of the election, the voters are king. And those voters are the ones that himself and his Bola Tinubu group will go and face.
All right. Talk to me about this. Where is the opposition today? Because the disarray is quite obvious. The PDP, the Labour Party, the coalition talks. Where is the opposition to stand against this behemoth that is the APC that is only getting bigger and bigger by the day?
Then you must then ask yourself, Obasanjo was president, Yar'Adua was president, Jonathan was president, even Muhammadu Buhari was president. Have you ever seen at any time in the history of this country's present republic where suddenly the hands of Jacob and the voice of Esau, suddenly all parties are destabilized? If you are creating El Dorado, if the indicators are great, we could say, oh, they are interested in coming to contribute their quota to what you are doing. We are the ones even struggling. I am one of the ones struggling to insist that Nigerians don't lose faith in the country because of this incompetent lot. And people are jumping there. The opposition is always there. There has never been a policy of this government, with due respect to people, that you will not say Atiku Abubakar pen a point of view. You will not see me come and talk about it. You will not see Peter talk about it. What do you people think opposition is about?
Yeah, but
do you think,
with due respect, the question is, your stock is plummeting. How then do you expect to pull off a miracle on election day in 2027?
I think you are insisting that the cult of human personality constitutes the entire electorate. That's wrong. They may be taking their likes, gangsters like them. They can be carrying
Gangsters?
Can you stop? They can be carrying those ones who stand for nothing. The people of Nigeria who feel the pain of their policies are the electorate. When the chips are down, have you not observed, in spite of their machination, we have never had a primaries in the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria post-2023 with all of the things they do that has not been clean. And would always produce candidates. You're going to compare Aswego Dalo, our candidate in Edo, with theirs. They are a people of anyhowness. It is for the benefit of our Nigerianness and not to make the whole countries of the world look at Nigeria and say, oh, everything is lost. That's why sometimes we do a pushback and beg people not to be too angry with the country. But if anybody thinks we are not angry with Bola Tinubu and his government, that's a damn bloody lie. We are angry with them, Nigerians are angry with them, and they will pay at the right time.
Nobody will start and waste his time, where nobody will shout when something is happening. The Otumba, he should understand that Tinubu is not forcing anybody, neither APC. It is just a wind of change that is blowing. And if Otumba is not in a hurry to come and join, he will be left on the corridor of doing nothing. He will just lose himself in the political arena.
I don't know whether this is an invitation or a clarion call to you.
Listen.
But
every politician like them, they think only about the next election. Statesmen like me think about the bigger future. You see, I have seen situations where people will empty into one party. And I have seen it eventually lead to the implosion of that party. You have only but one governor who is a candidate. Maybe about 3 senators, 9 or so reps, and a few House of Assembly. Do you know the number of people who will be contesting for just that one position? When you begin to think that this makes sense, of course it speaks to the democratic credentials of their leader Bola Tinubu and they themselves that are following him. I know.
It was the same thing that the dead Buhari echoed during his campaign. And I'm asking, you'll be asking yourself, what is the business of the US president with trying to keep Nigeria one? Is that their business? In what way does it concern them? In other words, what this man is trying to say that the president of the United States of America, before Trump came in, their ex-president Obama, knew very well about our agitation for Biafra. He knew what we were doing even in 2015 when he was making this ad or this campaign for Buhari. Ask yourself this question. Why would a former United States president, then he was the US president, why would he come out and say that to keep Nigeria one, borrowing the phrase of a mass murderer? Somebody who is in the Guinness Book of Records as one of the worst people to ever exist. Gowon is there. He's number 3 on the list. Number 1 is Hitler. I think number 2 is Pol Pot or is it Stalin? And number 3 is Gowon. Gowon is in the Guinness Book of Records. That is why I have this special venom for any deceiving Bible carrying idiot that uses the name and the word of God to deceive the gullible. That idiot Gowon is claiming that he is a born-again Christian. He's leading prayer. But in the Guinness Book of Records, he is there acknowledged as one of the worst people to ever live on the face of the earth. And Obama being the worst president America ever had. Somebody who claims his ancestry is from Kenya. But because of the money they are getting, because of the bribe, because of the corruption they are encouraging in the zoological republic that was created by Britain, this fool opened his mouth and said, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. The same words used by Gowon during the war of genocide against Biafra. I want our people to reason because I know that many black people do not reason. Most of our people do not reason. They don't sit down to analyze and to delve into issues properly. Ask yourself, what is an American president? Why should an American president be concerned about Biafra agitation? That is to tell you that Biafra is a divine project. And Lucifer and all his followers do not want Biafra to come. What I'm trying to say to you is this. Anybody, regardless of who they are, any human being, anybody who rises up to castigate the agitation for Biafra, that person is a servant of the devil. Is a servant of the devil. Regardless of they're carrying the Bible or not. This job of keeping Nigeria one, that is a task that must be done. Go and Google it. Buhari made, when he was alive, made reference to go on, that they fought a war to keep Nigeria one. Go and look at it. Ask yourself this question: why would Obama use exactly the same words of go on, a mass murderer and a killer? That tells you the extent of opposition that Biafra is getting, even from quarters and from people you least expect. That is why this is God's project. It doesn't belong to man. God's project. Can you imagine that throughout Obama, 8 years of Obama's presidency, he was working for one Nigeria? Not to make Nigeria a better place, but that he said the task, which means Obama quite literally placed the United States Army at the disposal of Buhari when he was alive. That the task of keeping Nigeria, that to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. The same words that Gowon used, I said the same verbatim. The same words that Gowon used during the genocide, which means that Obama is in support of 5 million Biafrans that was slaughtered during that very genocide. Do you see why I feel sorry for anybody who is against what we are doing? Do you see why I feel sorry for them? They don't understand what we are in. Ask yourself, what wrong did we do to Zuckerberg, the idiot that owns Facebook? Nothing. We've done nothing to him. Nothing whatsoever. I don't know if a Biafran took his wife from him or something. I have no idea. This man have consistently instructed his people to delete, to suppress. People previously, when they write or they comment and they get loads and tons of reactions. These days they write and they don't get up to 4 reactions. Up to the point that this very morning they were saying to me that I cannot broadcast live, that I must tell them where I am. Facebook, what has Facebook got to do with where I'm staying? What business of theirs is it? An American president was in the White House using the same words of a mass murderer, saying that Nigeria must be kept one. And I'm asking myself, what is the business of Obama's administration? Why would they want Nigeria to remain one? Because even Obama knows that Nigeria is there to serve an Islamic purpose. That Nigeria is there. They want to Islamize each and everybody. They want to make it the home of the most popular, should I say populous, Islamic nation in Africa. Unless you have common sense and a functioning brain, you will not understand what I'm saying. But I'm going to play it. The whole clip that you may know. And I want to publish it on my page for the world to see and to hear. What is the business? Ask that question, please, whoever is posting this clip. What is the business of Obama with Nigeria's unity? Why? What? What for? Because he's benefiting from it. They benefit from corruption. They benefit from it. That is what they are doing. I'm going to play it. Unfortunately, it is not as loud as I would like it to be. Let me play it once again that the world may hear.
To keep Nigeria one, the task that must be done.
Unbelievable.
To keep Nigeria one, the task that must be done.
Yes.
Today I urge all Nigerians.
I urge all Nigerians.
All religions, all ethnic.
All religions, everybody. Vote for Buhari.
Keep Nigeria one.
Help and keep Nigeria one.
Advancing the security.
Help to keep Nigeria one. Have you asked yourself, why would Obama, what has Obama got to do with one Nigeria? He did not say vote out corruption. He did not say vote out ineptitude, incompetence. He did not say vote out insecurity. He said you must go to vote. You must go to vote for one Nigeria. You must keep Nigeria one. Obama is asking you to keep Nigeria one. I want people with gumption, with common sense, to understand what that means. That tells you, that was why people were asking me, oh, why do you say that Biafra is the last miracle? Because I said to them, the reason why I keep using that very term is because people are into Biafra agitation, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the spiritual dimension of this very effort. They have no idea, they have no clue. Satan, it was Lucifer himself, it was Satan himself that inspired the British, that informed the decision of Lugard to create one Nigeria in the first place. It was a satanic act. The reason being that once you suppress Biafrans in Nigeria, the whole of Africa will remain in darkness. Black people all over the world will remain subservient. They will be slaves forever and ever. That is why anybody, any human being, any idiot who rises up to say that Biafra agitation is misguided, is misplaced, shouldn't be, that person, I can swear, is working for Satan, for Lucifer. Then the same camp with Obama. I hope you can now understand it. You can now understand the level of Fulani Janjaweed is not our opposition. God in heaven knows they are nothing. They don't exist. Fulani is nothing. They are stupid. They are not educated. They are Janjaweed. What do they know? They know nothing. You people are fighting forces and principalities you don't know that hates you. If you look at Obama now, they say, but has Obama said anything about Biafra? He doesn't know about Biafra. But Obama knows about Biafra more than all of you put together. That was why he used the word one Nigeria, to keep Nigeria one. That was the impact we are making in 2015. Think of the impact we have made up until now. Think of it. Think of it very carefully. Now you understand, don't you? Next time you must pay attention. Some of you, I don't know who brought out this very clip. Some of you see all these clips, and I keep asking myself, but most of you are learned, you're educated. Can't you reason? Can't you, when somebody is saying something, can't you go behind the lines and try to make out what that person actually is talking about or what they mean? Why would a sitting US president use the same words as Gowon used during the Biafran War? What does that tell you about our agitation all the way back in 2015? Why did I say this? Because earlier this evening the news broke, or should I say information filtered out of Asorok, and according to them, they said it was Roots TV that covered it very well, and I'm using theirs, and I want it also posted, please, on my page. Roots TV. Buhari identifies Radio Biafra as a major threat to national security.
Who's not been identified as of yet? Is this what our politicians are turning our police officers into at this moment? My father was a police commissioner, and you know how it makes me feel at this point.
Haven't you heard worse cases?
They tell me.
Please, you need to see all these police guards that got big men. You need to see the things they do. It's only listen shoe you have seen. They are more that are deeper than that.
Yes.
So, but the question is, can't Mr. Ganji lace his shoes again?
What happened there?
Or the policeman just wanted to help him lace his shoe. You see, that's kind of the system we have built. Mm-hmm. In a sane environment, you don't have over half of your police force guarding VIPs. If this environment was sane, you would never need to guard VIPs in the first place, because there's going to be general holistic security across board.
Right.
There are some climes in the world that lawmakers, top politicians, don't even have police guard, or they have to request for them on special cases after threats. There are some climes in the world that you will get into a train with politicians like this. They don't need to have guards. But when a sizable portion of the Nigerian police force is with all these big men, and they go around and these big men feed them morning, afternoon, night. A man that feeds you morning, afternoon, night, you will lace his boots. That's just it.
Yeah.
So if, like Dr. Abati said, a governor of his state can go and prostrate in front of his godfather, how much more police officer that they are feeding morning, afternoon? It's unacceptable, but Audrey, is that not a reflection of our country?
Yeah.
Is that not what led to, you see the Chinese man giving them, how much was it counting for them in the hands?
We saw that story.
So when that happens to a foreigner, we scream blue murder. What about this?
You're
politician
absolutely
saying, go down,
Yeah.
lace my shoe. And he was laughing, he was enjoying it. Sweet
I
treat.
know you want to speak.
No, Dr. Ganduje may not have asked him to lace his shoes.
Okay.
The man himself will voluntarily do it.
Okay.
Do you know whether that policeman has collected salary?
You see?
Maybe it's Ganduje that is paying his salary. So
yes.
you will be loyal to him.
Yes.
In fact, you say you are...
I'm a daughter of a police.
You have not seen policemen carrying bag for madam.
I have seen some
Following
of those.
wives
and
of
that's
politicians
why I thought I should highlight
to
this.
the market.
We need to reform the police.
they will,
True.
And they will
But
be
it's
very
true.
happy to do it.
Don't do
It's
that.
true, we've
In fact,
seen it.
somebody was telling me about it.
No, they
I
carry
don't have-
bags, oh.
I don't have
Yes.
proof of one washing policeman.
No. This is
I don't have
unacceptable.
proof.
Wait, before
But
I
it's not
come to you.
acceptable. But we shouldn't say that.
No, but that's what's happening.
But that's what's
we've
happening.
highlighted this.
No, that's what's
and
happening.
Speaking about the state of our police
You
officers.
see an adult who has a wife and children at home.
Yes.
They will give him bag to carry.
Yes.
And he will be very happy carrying madam's
Can you
bag.
just imagine this? Well, speaking about the state of our police officers. Yes.
Police
Let's
is
see how friendly they are. Meanwhile, a video that is now making the rounds on social media has showed a Nigerian police officer climbing a Mercedes-Benz with reasons yet unknown. Let's take a look. Vimba is a police officer, not VIO. What was he doing on the... What is happening?
It's casting for a movie. It's Fast
No,
and
I hope
Furious.
it's a movie.
It's a movie.
You know?
It's a movie, right?
This is on...
They will respond as if
You know,
it's
I'm glad
unbecoming.
I'm
Really.
glad you showed this
Yes.
video because before that I had an unpopular opinion, but
Yes.
I'll balance out the
Okay,
two.
good.
My take on the first video, very unpopular opinion
Yes,
by the
go
way,
ahead.
but I don't mind, is that have you noticed that if you travel overseas, the police will help elderly people cross the street.
Yes.
They will help even if it's children, if they need help with something and so forth. And I feel Ganduje, besides his role as maybe his orderly or he would be an orderly, he's older than him. And he saw that he needed help with something. And our culture specifically is about young people. If you see an elder in need, you rush to do it, right?
In uniform.
So, yes, why not?
In uniform.
Yes,
All
why
right.
not? No, this is my... that's why I
There are
said,
other people
no, don't
standing
come
there.
for me
Younger
because
people. But they couldn't have done it. What about those other people standing there? Younger, it's fine.
I already read
yeah,
out
go
the
ahead,
disclaimer
go
that
ahead.
it's an unpopular opinion.
ahead.
So for me personally, I didn't think the video was a big deal because I just
Okay.
felt it was a young man who saw something that needed to be done and he was proactive
Respectful
and he
young
helped
man.
his elder do it. And for me, I don't think it's a big thing.
Okay.
However, when we now see his colleagues rolling on windscreens, it now becomes very difficult on cars.
Don't they have people that are supposed to be
It
manning
just
the
reminds
roads
you know
like that?
we're laughing about it, but you know insecurity is at an all-time high across the nation, and this is the time that we need our police to be at their best. We need, I'm not sure what mission they're carrying out there, but their services and their attention is needed in Borno, in Benue, in Plateau State, in Bauchi, the list can go on and on and on. So I wish that we didn't have a situation where we're watching these videos and having to have a moment of comic relief from them, because their services are actually desperately needed in other parts of the country. And we don't need to be seeing this.
I really, really think that police officers need to respect their role as security officers, not people that tie shoelaces or carry bags, as Dr. Abati has seen
And the other young men around them, probably those men, based on
many
Vimba's model,
instances.
they are irresponsible. Because
Right.
how would they see Ganduje, the other young men, they are standing there, they are lying police tie shoe, and they are looking at the police? They must be irresponsible men. Yes.
Oh, well, all right. Shall we head over now to Niger State?
Anybody that lacks any sense of consciousness would ignore social movements. That is the problem with Nigerian leadership. You cannot have a country in which there are 251 tribes or languages, and one big section says, we are not satisfied with here, and you don't talk to them, you don't understand them. Then you are not a leader of that country. The reason I met him was to understand first what his struggle was about, which I knew already. And secondly, to also advise him on the way that I think we could all work together. And thirdly, to send a message to the Nigerian people that we can walk through our differences, even at these levels. And I was surprised that, contrary to what some people are saying, he did not want Nigeria to break up. He wanted a Nigeria where the Igbo man can survive. But for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break.
Wait, the meeting you had with Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You are telling us now that Nnamdi Kanu, from what you understand from the meeting with him, he does not want Nigeria to break, to divide.
No, he said clearly that it is too late for Nigeria to come together. But he gave his conditions. We live streamed the meeting now. It's online.
Okay.
And part of it was live streamed. Some of them were private. But he said that he feels that if Nigeria were to respect certain protocols, including a referendum inserted in the constitution, and he still says it even now in court, that if he's released, he will go back and end the bloodshedding. The bloodshedding is in that part, and that a conversation can. He says that in every court appearance, that he's being held is not helping the opportunity to have a conversation about whatever it is, the unity you are begging for. But you see, Nigeria has a problem. And I've always said, Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And I'm not saying it to please people who are known as Igbos. But the moment they decided to take the action they took in 1967 to 1970, the war, Nigeria, having won that war in their eyes, never forgave the Igbos. That is the reality. And if I were to be president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head to the Southeast and apologize to them for the war. Part of it is that I'd never participated in it. And I cannot continue to fight a war that I did not engage in. And then ask them, what do we want?
So are you saying that the federal government has, even before successive governments, they've always had this anger against the Igbos?
There is a secret memo, I don't know where it is located, in government, that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will overrun. It's a well-known fact. Even our parents tell us, Igbo. You understand? Some of them even say it unconsciously. They even say it on radio shows in this country. So don't let us lie to ourselves, because except we bring this out openly and discuss, it's a taboo that we have refused to discuss.
True.
We are not going to solve the problem. It is the reason why the federal government of Nigeria feels that in 2024, detaining Nnamdi Kanu against all the court orders, against all the court rulings, is the only way to go. You know, I was detained in the DSS place for 5 months.
Yes.
There's nothing there to detain anybody. The place is not even functioning. The DSS headquarters. Yes, is it the same DSS people who are watching BB Nigeria from morning to night? No, it's true now. I was there with them for 5 months. I've said this publicly. So all the institutions in this country are broken down. But let's get back to a reality. One thing I've told people is that you are looking at Igbos as the only people who want to secede. But who in this country today has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Mentally seceded. Who has not left? Except those who are trapped. If anybody in this country is working in a bank and he has 10 million naira and somebody say you can get into Canada, he will leave the next day.
I swear.
Is that not secession? Is it what of secession is that you leave a country, you say to that country goodbye,
and not do it again.
You get to the other country, you bow down, you touch the soil. And then you renounce your citizenship of the country you are coming from. Is that not what they call secession? So if you want to look at the number of people that have seceded in that Japa syndrome, there are more than all the Igbos combined together who are asking to leave. And in the process of keeping Nigeria united, we have let go of more citizens than the country should have.
Yes. So you think if they had if they had, because I mean, from the last thing you said now, you say in the process of trying to keep Nigeria united,
yes,
we have let go of more citizens than we should have.
Of course.
So if we had allowed for the division or secession of Nigeria, most of our citizens that are outside would not have been outside.
No, you see, it is not the secession I'm talking about.
Okay, what are you talking about?
It is what led to the war that we did not address.
Okay.
And what happened after the war. Why is it that Nigeria hasn't been able to overcome the Biafran problem? It's because Nigeria never addressed what the Biafrans were asking for before the war.
What were they asking?
They were asking for to be treated not as second-class citizens in this country. Don't you know what happened, the called pogrom in this country, where people were slaughtered and their bodies and their heads placed inside the train going down south? Yes, from the north, from the mid, the different parts of the north. Are we ignoring that? So
that happened
before the war.
Before the war, that's what they call pogrom.
History.
People who were settled, doing well, they were slaughtering them and sending their bodies and their heads inside calabash and sending on trains that was heading east.
Were they Easterners?
They were Easterners.
Yes,
Why are you asking me? It's there in, go and Google it now. So you expect that will happen, and then there was a war that eviscerated 3 million people.
Wow.
And when the war was over, you just say, oh, nobody was vanquished, nobody was victorious. And then
3 hours.
But you still kept a memo and said, don't trust them.
Collect people money,
yes,
give them 20 pounds.
And then you took their properties. Ojukwu did not get back JAMB until 1992. Now his father's house, that is known as JAMB headquarters here in Ikoyi. It was after he came back from Ivory Coast. It was Babangida, I think, that gave him back their property. So any country that is perpetually carrying out systemic injustice against will lose more citizens than they should have. The reason why countries that are work is because citizens believe in their country.